The second half of 2026 isn't just another few months. It's like standing at the starting line of a race where standing still costs you the win. Some will see a storm coming. Others will see a chance to surf a massive wave, and some will just see a big mess. Because when people don't prepare, they like to give their problems big, dramatic names. But if we look through an ancient lens, 2026 is the year of the fire horse. And if we look at what's happening in the world, it's like 5 different fast-moving trains. AI, robotics, energy, health tech, and digital money that were on separate tracks are now all heading for the same station at the same time. The collision is coming. That's what I call the Great Acceleration. It's not about one big boom that changes everything overnight. The change is the speed itself. The whole world is hitting the accelerator pedal.
A speeding fire horse is not a gentle pony ride. It reveals who didn't build their car properly. It reveals who wasn't paying attention to the road. It reveals who has a weak engine. It reveals the people who are waiting for a perfect sunny day before they start their journey. So, the question isn't, will the second half of 2026 be good or bad? The real question is, can you handle this speed? Let's talk about the fire horse of 2026. Think of a wild horse, full of energy, always wanting to run, to be free, to move forward. That's the horse. Now, add fire to it. The horse isn't just running anymore. It's glowing, it's passionate, intense, and everything it does is big and bright for all to see. When you put them together, you get a year where everything moves faster. It's like the whole world drank a triple shot espresso. Decisions have bigger consequences. And if you have cracks in your foundation, they will show. So don't ask if the year will bring you good luck. That's like asking if the sun is good. A better question is, what will this bright fire horse light up? Because fire doesn't just create things, it also reveals things. It shines a light on what was already broken, what was already shaky, what was already old and dusty. And because the fire is on a horse, this reveal happens at lightning speed. Now forget about ancient wisdom for a second. Look at the modern world. Thinkers who study innovation, like the folks at ARK Invest, talk about a convergence. That's a fancy word for things crashing together. Imagine you have 5 super smart chefs. One is an expert in AI, another in robotics, another in energy, another in healthcare, another in new forms of digital money. For years, they've all been cooking in separate kitchens. Pretty cool, right? But now, they're all being pushed into the same kitchen, all at once.
The AI starts talking to the robot guy. The robot guy starts talking to the healthcare chef. The energy chef finds a way to power everyone's ovens for almost free. It's not just one recipe changing. The entire menu of our world is being rewritten live, right in front of us. And this is where the old story of the fire horse and the new story of technology start to sound exactly the same. Speed, exposure, big changes, big opportunities. And if you hesitate, you get left behind. This isn't a scary movie prediction. We have enough of those online already. This is about understanding the feeling of the second half of 2026. The speed of the game is changing. The pressure is changing. What it costs you to wait and see is changing. And if you're trying to build anything serious, business, career, future, you can't treat this time like any other. It's not normal time. It's accelerated time. So what does this acceleration feel like?
It feels like the map you've been using is suddenly wrong. The old shortcuts don't work. Before, you could wait. You could sit on the fence. You could take a few months to think. You could say, let me see what everyone else does first. You could put off learning that new skill. You could keep your broken business model on life support. You could ignore your health, your money, your team, and somehow you'd get by for a little while. In the fire horse year, that little while is gone. The world is giving you feedback instantly. The consequences for doing nothing are louder. It's like the universe is shouting at you instead of whispering. Hesitation is no longer invisible. If your business is afraid of AI, it's not a secret anymore. Your customers will feel it. If your job is based on doing something a robot can do faster, your boss will see it. If you lead your team by just shouting orders, your team will see how weak that is. If what you're selling is just okay, the market will ignore you. The fire horse isn't creating the problem. It's just putting a giant spotlight on the problems that were already there. The year isn't fighting you. It's showing you where your car will fall apart when you drive it too fast. In business, the slow companies will feel like they're stuck in mud. Not because they got worse, but because everyone else is flying past them in a speedboat. A company that doesn't use AI doesn't just get a little less work done. It can't see what's coming. It can't react. It becomes blind. A person who doesn't learn new things doesn't just get old-fashioned. They become a burden. A leader who can't make a decision doesn't just seem careful. They seem lost. That's the thing about this great acceleration. It changes what it means to wait. Waiting used to look like patience. In the second half of 2026, waiting starts to look like fear. But hold on. This doesn't mean you should run around like a headless chicken.
That's using astrology as an excuse to make silly mistakes and then blame the stars when it all goes wrong. Speed isn't about panic. It isn't about being reckless. It isn't about gambling everything on red. Speed just means the gap between your action and the result is much, much shorter. So the answer isn't to move without thinking. The answer is to build a strong boat before the big wave comes. This is where managing your energy becomes real. It's not some mystical thing. Think of your energy, your time, your money, your focus like water in a bucket. The first step is simple. Stop the leaks. Because in a slow year, a small leak is just a puddle. Annoying, but you'll live. In a fast year, a small leak is a disaster. It's like a hole in your spaceship. Look at your business. Where is the water leaking out? Is it because nobody knows what you're selling? Is it because you don't follow up with people? Is it a broken sales system? Is it that one client who sucks all your energy for very little pay? Is it that one team member who causes more problems than they solve? That is a chi leak. And in a fire horse year, that leak gets expensive. Now, look at your own life. Where are your leaks? Bad sleep? Mindlessly scrolling through your phone for hours? Getting into pointless arguments? Saying yes to things you know you should say no to? Chasing every shiny object because you have FOMO? That's also chi leak. If you don't fix those leaks, acceleration won't make you successful. It will just make you tired faster. This is why the second half of 2026 is a gift to people with a plan. The person with a strong bucket can move fast. The person with a leaky bucket just breaks fast. Same speed, totally different story. Now, let's look at the money part. AI isn't just a cool toy anymore. It's becoming the new electricity. Robots aren't in movies anymore.
They are in warehouses, hospitals, and delivery trucks. Battery power isn't just for your phone. It's about to change how whole cities work. New kinds of medicine are changing how we think about staying healthy. And that weird thing called blockchain, it's still messy and confusing, but the idea of owning your stuff digitally isn't just going to disappear. These are not separate fairy tales. They are all part of the same story. When these powerful ideas start mixing together, the world changes faster than ever. That's the great acceleration. For most people, this feels like a lot of pressure, but for the person who is ready, it's like getting a superpower. AI gives superpowers to the person who knows how to ask good questions. Robots give superpowers to the business that has its house in order. New money ideas give superpowers to those who understand how to handle risk. But for people who are just waiting for the world to be simple and calm again, this is going to be a tough time. The world isn't getting simpler. It's just getting faster. So in the second half of 2026, don't ask, how can I avoid all this change? That game is over. A much better question is, where do I need to change first? Not everywhere. Don't try to do everything at once. That's a recipe for burnout. You need to find the one spot where the speed will affect you the most. For some, it's their career. For others, it's their business. For some, it's their money. For others, it's their health or their leadership, or just their own self-discipline. And for so many people, the real problem is making a decision. They don't have an information problem. They have a not doing anything problem. The internet has given us more information than we could ever read, and people are still saying, I just need a little more clarity before I do something. My friend, sometimes clarity doesn't come while you're standing still. It comes after you take the first brave step. So, how do you ride this wave instead of being crushed by it? There are 3 main moves. Not 27, not some complicated plan you'll never use, just 3. First, build your anchor. When the wind is blowing like crazy, you can't chase every leaf that flies by. You need an anchor. You need to know what you are about, who you are here to serve, what makes you valuable, and most importantly, what you will say no to. That last part is key, because the fire horse energy will bring a lot of shiny distractions, more opportunities, more offers, more noise, more people wanting to work with you. Without an anchor, you will get pulled in a million different directions and end up going nowhere. An anchor doesn't stop you. It stops you from being dragged away from your destination.
For a business owner, your anchor is your main product, your best customer, and your unique place in the market. For an employee, your anchor is the one skill that makes you almost impossible to replace. For an investor, your anchor is your core belief, your rules for risk, and when you will sell. For a leader, your anchor is your values and your vision. Second, upgrade your personal recipe for success. Not just your laptop, your way of doing things. How do you make decisions? How do you handle your money? How do you use new tools like AI? How do you manage your energy? How do you check if what you're doing is actually working? How do you stop making the same mistake over and over again? That is your personal recipe. And in a fire horse year,
A bad recipe becomes obvious very fast. If your business runs on your memory, your mood, and last-minute panic, you're in trouble. If your creative work only happens when you feel inspired, you're in trouble.
If your leadership is just you hoping everyone can read your mind, you're in trouble. Speed does not forgive messy systems. It makes them explode. This is where you should use AI, not as a toy, not to be lazy, not to create boring stuff that sounds like a robot wrote it. Use AI to make things smoother. Use it to learn faster, write faster, see patterns faster, test ideas faster, prepare better. But never let the machine do your thinking for you. In a firehorse year, these tools can make you 10 times better. But if your thinking is bad, they will also make you 10 times more confused. Third, manage your own fire. This is the one that ambitious people always forget. The firehorse energy is like rocket fuel, but rocket fuel can also blow up. The second half of 2026 might push people to work too much, react too quickly, spend too much, and promise too much. Too much fire makes you impatient. Too much fire makes you emotional.
Too much fire makes you famous for a minute, then makes you disappear. Too much fire leads to burnout. And burnout isn't a trophy. It's a sign that your system... So your plan can't be to just hustle 24/7. It has to be a focused sprint, then a real rest, then a clear review of what happened, and then the next sprint. Move, rest, review, refine, move again. That is how you use fire without getting burned. You don't deal with the energy of a year by praying to it. You deal with it by matching your actions to the feel of the moment. If the moment is fast, build a strong car. If the moment is hot, bring your own water. If the moment puts a spotlight on you, know what you want to say. If the moment is shaking everything up, be the one who can make a clear choice. That is how you ride the fire horse instead of being dragged behind it. So what does this all mean for you personally? If you're a business owner, the world is telling you to clean up your shop. Make your offer crystal clear. Make your follow-up amazing. Use it for real, not for show. And stop wasting energy on bad clients and broken systems. If you're an employee, the world is asking you to prove your value. Don't just ask if your job is safe, ask if it's obvious why you are important. Can you use the new tools? Can you think like a boss? Can you communicate? Can you solve problems? Because that's who gets rewarded when things move fast. If you're an investor, the world is asking you to separate your brain from your feelings. Don't chase every new, exciting thing. Don't confuse a wild market with a smart opportunity. Know your plan, know your rules, and please, this is not financial advice. It's a conversation about timing. If you're a leader, the world is asking you to be clear. Your team doesn't need more noise, they need a destination. They need to know what's important right now. In a fast-moving world, a confused leader creates a slow team. And when the world speeds up, but the team slows down, things get very stressful very fast. So here is my question for you. Which part of your life is the least ready for more speed? Career, money, business, health, relationships, leadership, or just yourself? Drop one word in the comments. Not a long story, just one word. Because the word you choose is probably the first place the fire horse is going to test you. And if this way of thinking makes sense to you, subscribe to this channel. This is where we talk about ancient wisdom and modern strategy. This isn't about superstition or lucky colors. This is about learning to see what's coming, manage your energy, and make smart moves before everyone else feels the pressure. The second half of 2026 is a choice. You can look at the fire horse and all the technology changes and see a threat. You can wait. You can tell yourself you need to be 100% sure before you do anything. You can stand still and watch the world fly by. That is a choice. Or you can see this moment for what it is. A time when old, weak things are breaking apart. A time when speed is a reward for being ready. A time when the person with a clear plan, a strong structure, and the courage to can leap forward while everyone else is still wondering what just happened. The great acceleration isn't something you can just watch. It's the ground changing under your feet while you're walking. And the fire horse of 2026 isn't asking if you're comfortable. It's asking if you're ready to move. Because in the second half of 2026, standing still is not a neutral act. Standing still